My name is Zimbabwe Abdul Malik from Pasadena, California. We're here in Pasadena, California at Villa Park. One of my first childhood memories being here at this park. We'll be speaking about my former incarceration of me receiving 2 life sentences for a carjacked murder. Um, with that being said, we'll be also speaking about what I've been doing since I've been out of incarceration. During my incarceration, it varies for people. You know how prison life is. You know, some people are immune to it, some people can adapt, some people can't adapt. You know, but it's a mental thing. But for me, my journey was easy. You know, I'm not here to try to brag or anything of that nature. I've been an individual who know how to adapt to my surroundings. So my journey in the beginning, when I had got found guilty, I made a prayer to God. In that prayer, not only did I ask to be returned to my mother, but I asked for my journey to be easy. You know, so um, I was never stabbed in regards of whether it was a fight or in riots. I was never stabbed. However, I've been scraped with a shank, but never actually stabbed. I've never been jumped, beaten, um, things of that nature. Never been sexually abused or none of the things that you guys will probably hear. You know, I surrounded myself with people who I believe were solid, trustworthy individuals. You know, like I said, even though I'm from the Damu and Paru tribe, however, I ran with the Muslims. The Muslims. So, with that being said, the Muslim community have variations of ethnicities, probably, but majority blacks here in California. But they have different ethnicities. They have different people from different tribes from the Bay Area, San Diego, people from out of state, and some of my cellmates were Muslims. Some of my cellmates were Crips. Some of my cellmates were Bloods or Parus. You know, I didn't discriminate in the sense of what tribal members who I was set up with. Out here in California, it's a race thing, so you can't sell up with another the opposite race of you unless that opposite race is a tribe member from your tribe or run with the blacks, or if you're a Latino or white, unless that person is the same up under their tribe, under their structure. I got some pictures right here. This picture right here, this is at Soledad. So the guy to will be my right, you guys left. That's a brother named Said Dog out of Watts, California. The brother go by Bashir. He's out of the Nicholson Garden. The other the other brother is next to him is Mustafa out of San Diego, the Skyline area, better known as Baby Ness. The guy next to him is a brother named KJ out the Pueblo area. Um, and that's me with the beanie. All those guys right there been down 20 plus years. They have a life sentence. KJ recently been home a little over a year now. Ironically, when I was going in and out the system in juvenile hall, um, I seen KJ and I ended up seeing him again in Soledad prison, and he had been there that whole time, and he did a total of 28 years. Yeah. There go some other brothers. They out of Long Beach. The guy standing next to me, the light skinned guy, that's the brother Tariq. They're Crips. They're some former Crip brothers. Another brother right here, Hussein, me, brother Talib out of Hanford, the brother Muhammad. These are all Muslim brothers. That's me out on the plantation that I call, some people call it the yard. That's Soledad prison. Um, Here's me again with Farouk, other brother with my arm around. That's little U-turn out of South Central. This me in Soledad. That's my cell. This is me and with a brother named Lil Fat Pat out of the West Side. Lil Fat Pat, that was my cellie. That's at Centinela. This is my mother. This is my mother. This is my mother that installed my belief system and the upbringing is the way I carry myself, in a sense. Some of my some of my attributes come from her. This is my number one supporter while I was in there. And that's another thing. A lot of people don't have a lot of support. Here go a lot of brothers right here. I'm not gonna name all of them. That's at Soledad. That's at one of the EIDs. That's in the visiting room. But a lot of people. That's another picture of me and my mom. A lot of people don't have support, and so while I was in there, that's at Salinas Valley. Um, I told myself when I get out, I will come back. I will come back. That's me in the cell. Um, I will come back and visit some people if I can. Graduation picture, and so that's what I've been doing as well since I've been out. So since I've been out, I've been going back into the system and visiting some people. In fact, yesterday I just visited someone who was my cellie in the county jail. He's been down approximately about 30 years now. This is my cousin. This is Lil Ray right here. He has a life sentence. Lil Ray just have a lot of time. This is another brother named Lamar out of San Diego who I went to visit in Soledad. Another brother named Ruben out of East Los Angeles, Crip brother. A brother right here, brother Hakeem, he has life. These individuals that I'm showing you, they have life. It's a brother out of Bakersfield named G, a Crip brother, he has life as well. Let me do one more visiting the brother Sean out of Pasadena. He's more so of my older brother who died era. This is one of the another brother named Carl. He was on death row. Um, he's in Donovan prison. I went to visit him as well. A lot of people don't have support, and what's sad is for those who've been in that situation, they tend to forget, or they sell people dreams. Or I'm gonna do this for you, do that for you. And they don't do it, follow through. So I know how it is. I've been visiting individuals since I was a kid, going back into the prisons with my mother, whoever she was with at the time, whatnot. So it was automatically instilled in me to do it. So even when I was running the streets, I was going to the county jail, up to the camps, and visiting individuals. So it's just this time I've been on the streets longer than usual. Last time I was on the street, I was only out for a week from being a year. That was the longest I ever had been out. But anyway, I look at it as a duty, a must to go back and visit those brothers, those brothers and sisters that's doing that time, because it's truly needed. When I was there, um, I had a visit from only my mother in prison, but in the county jail, a few homegirls came while I was in the county jail, whatnot. So, but it was only my mother, my number one support system, and a lot of people go years without visits. Some people don't get visits at all, and the longer that you're incarcerated, the more of your loved ones die, and it's a reality. It's a reality that a lot of people face, and it's a reality that a lot of people don't think about before committing the crime they committed. I'm only speaking about those who committed a crime. I'm not saying everybody who was incarcerated committed a crime that they're in for. But support systems always needed. Since I've been out, some people have stated that, oh man, you must like prison, whatnot, because I will speak about prisons of the things that I miss. And some of those, or a lot of those individuals who I showed you, I've been with them for years. The same how those out here in the outside society have been with individuals for years. You build a relationship with these individuals, so it's the same in there. So I miss the brotherhood. I miss the brothers. So um, to show my love, my love. That's one way I do it. To go back into the prisons and visit them. I may not have the necessary funds or whatever. I tell everybody go visit an individual one time. One time, that's it. Tell them that's all you got. All I'm gonna visit you just that one time, and that's it. I'm not visiting you no more. Other than that, I continue to accept your calls. The calls are free. You have some people out here, they won't even accept free calls. And it is what it is. But me personally, this is my mission. I go in there to visit them, and if it's possible that I can aid them in getting their freedom off that plantation, that's what I'm gonna do. But it a lot of people sit up and say that, oh, they love their homeboys or homegirls, but they don't do anything. It's just talk, and that's all right, but me personally, I know it's a must, you know.
Do you think the prison system is fair? Do you think that it's wrong to keep people incarcerated for so long?
Let the time fit the crime. And what I mean is this: an individual. Once upon a time, we had a law called three strikes. They kind of brought it back recently, but they just renamed it and structured it a little differently because of these snatch and grabs that's been going on. So it's basically the three strike is back in effect for those who don't actually know. Um, so you have people. Um, being struck out, given life sentences for drugs, possession of drugs, or stealing. And that was a waste of taxpayer money. You got to have individuals that's currently getting out from being struck out, doing 25, 27 years. And so something like that doesn't fit the time. Even if a person was to strike me, you know, that punch or that bruise, whatever, it's not worth a life sentence. And so no. Now I understand for those who say if you take a life, you should do life. Okay, yeah, but at the same time, I know in time, people can change. So if a person have shown rehabilitation during their incarceration, why not allow them out? Why not allow them to another chance of freedom? Because a lot of people who are incarcerated, they come in at a young age, a very young age, and they don't think, myself included, don't think everything actually through. I didn't think that my mother would get. I knew she'd get old, but I didn't think about the health, the health situation part. She's in a wheelchair now. And I believe that most of most of her health issue came because of me. And no one should be spending 40 years, 50 years, 30 years, because even if it was a death, that person is not going to come back. But however, the individual who has been rehabilitated and show that they've been reformed, right? Give that person another chance out into society. At least you know who that person is, and possible what that person is capable of, rather than a person that you don't know, because you have a track record on this individual. You could hire somebody with a squeaky clean record, but they could be the straight devil. You know what I mean? And you would never know until you actually catch them. But that's what I think in regards to that. My appeal, the first time I came down, and I had a horrible attorney at first, and they denied me. They shut me down, and I returned back to prison. However, this attorney right here named Angela Berry, this is a photo of her and I took her out for breakfast when I got out, and she got me out. By the grace of God, she got me out. Very good lawyer, very good lawyer. I recommend anyone to go to her. So, in fact, she helped Sirhan get a date, parole date, but they took it away from him. But anyway, with that being said, the appeal system, the law is not exactly how people think. You will say that you will read about the law and what pertains to you on your appeal, and you think those judges is going to rule in your favor, even though the law says, hey, that for them to rule in your favor. But them judges have more, like how somebody told me, we have to find another word than the word power, you know, because they're not really held accountable. For example, I forgot where these two brothers was from. They had got found not guilty for a crime, and they spent 27 years in prison. They went to trial, got found not guilty. I used to tell people, I said, man, even though you get found guilty, I mean not guilty, the judge can still sentence you, and that's what the judge did in their case. He still sentenced them to a life sentence. They got found not guilty by a jury, and he still sentenced them to a life sentence. They recently got out, and but the reason why I'm putting emphasis on this is because um, like I said, these judges are immune to I mean, they have immunity with everything, right? So when you get found guilty, there is it's a thing called an appeal system that you have to go through. So the trial judge has a superior judge over him in the appellate courts. In the appellate courts, the lower state appellate courts had the state supreme courts over them, and then you had the feds, then you had the United States Supreme Court, right? So these two individuals that I'm referring to, I know they went through the appeal process, but still, all those judges, they still denied them off their appeal. They got found not guilty. So it's like the individual had to say, "Oh yeah, this is some real racist stuff right here," and that's the truth, So the judges above the trial judge, they could have overturned those individual sentences as soon as they came enter that first level of appeal, but they didn't. These brothers spent 27 years in the system for a crime that they didn't do, and they was found not guilty of. And it's not exactly what individuals think, but fortunately, a lot of God blessed for me to get this attorney who Angela Berry that I'm referring to get me out. I filed my own case. When you're on your appeal, the state gives you a lawyer if you can't hire one, and they only take you to a certain level of the appeal, and then you're on your own. So I had filed all my appeals after that on my own. Um, that's another thing. Like, if you're fighting your case, the judges, the courts, they don't like granting your case for relief, because they look at it like this is a criminal. How this individual know the law, was able to do this and this and that. So they assign an attorney to you, and let that attorney get the credit for it. I'm not saying this is what happened in my case, but that happens a lot. And then they don't want to grant a lot of cases because of it opens the floodgate for other individuals who have the same issues. So the system is just totally foul. I'm a supervisor for Urban Alchemy for the homeless people, that we service the homeless people out there in Culver City, and but like I say, I stay in touch with those that's incarcerated. I do my best while I'm out here in society trying to be productive, much productive as possible. And give a better light on those who are coming out the system. I have an organization called Free the People, and this is my first event right here. Those are formerly incarcerated individuals. Some of them had life sentences, and yeah, most of these people that you see, they did 25 plus years. You know,
And they're all out now,
they're
obviously.
yes, they're all out. Some of them I was incarcerated with, um, and some of them I wasn't. It's for those who are justice impacted, whether you serve time or you supported those who serve time. So that sums everything up. Thanks for listening. Drop a comment, like, spread it, share the story with other social media outlets. You can find me on Facebook under my name, Zimbabwe Abdul Malik, and also under my Instagram name, Zimmy. That's Zimmy, the number 4, and Zim. So thanks for listening, and tune in the near future.